Unbeaten home record was on the line today against Cup semi-finalist Dundee United, themselves in sore need of points to avoid the increasingly desperate dogfight at the foot of the table. It was to be quite an afternoon, as Rob McLean discovered.
Barry Ferguson misses out on what would have been his 40th match of the season. He's injured and must be doubtful for Scotland next week. His Rangers place goes to Scott Wilson. That's the only change. It means that Rangers will switch from a back three to a back four, with Wilson joining skipper Lorenzo Amoruso in central defence. Unsettled Stefan Givash is injured as well, but probably wouldn't have made the starting lineup anyway. Neil McCann will play on the left side of a four-man midfield. Next Saturday here at Ibrox, he could feature as a Scotland striker. There's a long-awaited Dundee United debut for Scott McCulloch, signed from Dunfermline for £300,000. A succession of cup ties he couldn't play in, and a suspension have kept him out so far. McCulloch's inclusion is one of three changes from the team which on Tuesday night reached the Tennant Scottish Cup semi-finals. David Hanna, who was cup-tied, and Jason DeVos, who was suspended, are recalled. Neil Murray and Maurice Malpas are injured. Joe Miller drops to the bench. United will switch to a back three, with cup hero Magnus Skoldmark and McCulloch operating as wing-backs, and they'll look to Hanna to supply the composure they'll need in midfield. The referee for Rangers against Dundee United is Martin Clark. Dundee United start the match. They're in those cup semi-finals, courtesy of the replay win in midweek against Ayr United. But a lot of work to be done before they can start thinking about that. Points desperately needed to ensure their survival in the top flight. And an amazing 36 points between these two teams as the match gets underway. Rangers on 62 at the top of the tree. Dundee United third from bottom with a total of 26. Jason DeVos, the Dundee United skipper, making a good start. And now Dodds. Craig Easton trying to hold off Sergio Parini. Now David Hanna in support. Crashing to earth after the tackle from Giovanni van Bronckhorst. Free kick given against him. Played in by Siggy Jonsson, headed away by Scott Wilson. Back in from DeVos. Too high for Easton. Tony Vidmar with the room to push forward. He was reluctant. In from Alberts, left by van Bronckhorst, cleverly for Kanchelskis. His shot! And very close after 90 seconds to the game's opening goal. The first Rangers attack, and it was slick. The dummy from van Bronckhorst setting up Kanchelskis, and he didn't need a second opportunity. Neil McCann forced infield by Magnus Skoldmark. Scott Wilson for Sergio Parini. Van Bronckhorst and Wallace. Strength from Johansson. And from Van Bronckhorst, here's Jonathan Johansson. Saved by the left foot of Dijkstra. So close to goal number 17 of the season for Johansson. And that's a good tackle by John Eustace. Billy Dodds took too long. Robbed by Wilson. Well, that was important from Siep Dijkstra. He kept United in the cup last Saturday with that late penalty save from Andy Walker. This was important to deny Jonathan Johansson. Dodds again. Gets it back from Duffy. Back from Skoldmark to DeVos. Possession lost. Johansson's flick. Neil McCann trying to get the ball under control. He has it now. He's away from DeVos. All the way across goal. Turned away by Scott McCulloch. This was so dangerous from Dundee United's defensive point of view. After McCann had got the better of DeVos, this bounced across the goal mouth. All it needed was a touch. Rangers trying to keep the pressure on. The Alberts corner. And the header from Scott Wilson fails to hit the target. Early scribblings for Bert van Lingen on the bench. It's been a lively start from Rangers. Duffy for Olofsson. And McCulloch. Billy Dodd's relieved of possession. Wallace to McCann. Johansson keeps himself onside. He's got pace. He's got a finish as well, which forced a good stop from Siv Dijkstra. That was fizzing from Johansson. Lots of confidence about Jonathan Johansson, which was missing from him last season. He wanted the crack at goal there. Billy Dodds to Craig Easton. Scott McCulloch getting forward, linking with Kjell Olofsson. And he can't get away from Lorenzo Amoruso. He wasn't giving that up. The pace there to match Olofsson. Jason de Vos appears in the penalty area for Kjell Olofsson's long throw. Beaten in the air though by Scott Wilson. Now Andrei Kanchelskis. Rod Wallace has made a good run through the middle. Was that a raised book from Siggy Jonsson? The Rangers supporters certainly thought so. No free kick given. Now it's Wallace. In for Johansson. It breaks back from McCann. In for Rod Wallace! Saved by Dijkstra and headed over the top by Kanchelskis. Rangers should have had the leads, but superb goalkeeping from Dijkstra. Desperate marking this from Dundee United. Rod Wallace all on his own, and reflexes from Dijkstra which have to be applauded. Oh, what a miss that was from Kanchelskis on the rebound. Good build-up work from Rangers, but how did this not end up in the back of the net? So close to 25 for the season for Wallace, and only Andrei Kanchelskis knows how he failed to put that one away. He's a man on top of his form at the moment, in Siv Dijkstra. In recent matches he's pulled off a string of superb saves, and I think he was dropped by Dundee United earlier in the season. Lovely pass from Jonathan Johansson for Andrei Kanchelskis. It needs the cutback. And the ball across the line, says Martin Clark. So the excitement fizzles away. Goal kick. But thrown play again from Kanchelskis. And trying to release the cutback. But it was a good interception by Siggy Jonsson. Given away. Easton. John Eustace. It's well defended by Tony Vidmar. United win a free kick. Cluster of tangerine shots waiting in the box. Kjell Olofsson's delivery. Billy Dodds was waiting. Back in from Easton. Wilson's header could be dangerous. So too could Tony Vidmar's. Stefan Klos in trouble against Billy Dodds. Easton. And finally back in the arms of the goalkeeper, but not the most convincing of defending from Rangers here. Flapped away by Klos, that one. And finally, back with Klos. Craig Easton stumbles on the ball. Wants to get it back to Hannah. Free kick given against Van Bronckhorst. Eustace and De Vos, and Duffy and Dodds, all there for United. It was Amoruso who won the header for Rangers. Neil McCann for Jonathan Johansson, he missed it. Siggy Jonsson didn't. Nice touch. Kjell Olofsson thinking about the shot. Struck it well. Over the crossbar from Olofsson. It would be the ultimate sucker punch for Dundee United to score. They've been under a lot of pressure. Well, Paul Sturrock hasn't spent much time inside the dugout in this match. He's been constantly up and down to the touchline, trying to reorganise his side as the match is in motion. Johnson's pass for Skoldmark. Nobody down the line for him. Kjell Olofsson doing his best to get there before Scott Wilson. Kept in, just back for Billy Dodds. Good save, Stefan Klaas, to deny Billy Dodds. United have been defending for most of the game, and that was a good effort from Dodds, and it produced a good reflex stop from the German keeper, Klaas. Vidmar's pass, a good one for Neil McCann. Lovely skill. Sadly for McCann, not the finish. Jason DeVos did well. He put in an important challenge just as McCann was about to pull the trigger there. Good ball from Vidmar, curling into the stride of McCann. Lovely flick over the head of DeVos to set himself up. And over the top went the shot. Jonsson, the Dodds lay off for Eustace. He was spinning away from him. That's for Skoldmark. McCann had it, then lost it to Skoldmark. In for John Eustace. Couldn't quite get the ball under control to get the shot at goal, Eustace. Otherwise, that was a decent opportunity for Dundee United. It was all about the persistence of Skoldmark. And turned back into the stride of Eustace. The spoiling work was done by Van Bronckhorst. Jonsson for Dodds. Knocked down for Hanna. Magnus Skoldmark getting further forward as the first half goes on. Nearly 45 minutes played, and Olofsson! Kjell Olofsson, right on half-time, strikes the sucker punch. Dundee United have the lead. Paul Sturrock, I'm sure, can hardly believe it. They've been fighting a rearguard action for most of the half. Finally, the Rangers' defence unlocked by John Eustace. Olofsson not picked up, beaten offside, and delivered an impressive right foot shot into the top corner. Stefan Klaas had no chance, and Dundee United have the lead. There's Van Bronckhorst. Beyond Wallace, in comes Kanchelskis. Collected by Dijkstra. Nobody read that from Kanchelskis. He was looking for somebody to get on the end of that knockback. And that's the end of the first half. Kjell Olofsson has given Dundee United a priceless lead at the end of the first half. But their hero has got to be Sieb Dijkstra. They were under so much pressure early on. Jonathan Johansson might well have given Rangers the lead early on. Saved by the foot of Sieb Dijkstra. Opportunity number 2 for Rod Wallace. Brilliantly saved by Dijkstra. Kanchelskis nodded the rebound over the top. This was a chance, though, as Dundee United became encouraged and Rangers became frustrated. But Stefan Klaas was to be beaten right at the end of the half. Magnus Skoldmark got himself forward, and Eustace set up Kjell Olofsson for a stunning shot into the top corner. And at half-time at Ibrox, amazingly enough, it's Rangers 0, Dundee United 1. Right at the start of the second half, Rangers make a change of the attacking variety. Off goes defender Scott Wilson, on comes striker Gabriel Amato. Rangers start the second half, still stunned, I'm sure, by that late first half strike by Kjell Olofsson. Rangers unbeaten in 14 matches since losing out in Europe to Parma. They've won their last 9, scoring 34 goals, but Kjell Olofsson's goal is thrown the cat among the pigeons. And if this scoreline turns into a result, then Celtic would take some heart. John Eustace knocked up into the corner ahead of Olofsson. Across comes Vidmar. Cleared by Parini, flicked on by Van Bronckhorst. Neil McCann. So Rangers with a back three again. Amato's first touch. Making an immediate impact, Amato. He'll need the ball though. Still has it. Great strength on the ball, Amato, together with his undoubted skill. And he's got a free kick. Great reception for this ability shown by Amato to hold on to possession against all odds. Taking up his position round about the penalty spot. In from Van Bronckhorst. Headed back by McCann. Away by Jonsson. George Alberts trying to work it onto the left foot. Cleared by Billy Dodds. A huge roar inside Ibrox as the Rangers support wills their team back into the match. Alberts won the header. Scott McCullough thumped it behind. Corner kick. The left foot of Van Bronckhorst, out is Dijkstra. Lost it. Hammered away by Jason de Vos. You get the distinct feeling today that Paul Sturrock would prefer to be on the pitch. He's only a couple of yards away from it at the moment. McCullough trying to pick out Dodds. Amaruso was pushing Tony Vidmar out of the way to get to that. Untidy stuff from Rangers. Amaruso has it back. Here's Wallace. And Amato. And Johansson claims for a penalty kick, waved away. Scott McCullough with some words to say to Jonathan Johansson about the claim. This was the break into the box set up by Wallace and Amato, and very little contact. John Eustace just lost it in a dangerous area. Andrei Kanchelskis. Scott McCullough trying to stick with him. Back for Van Bronckhorst on that dangerous left foot. Touched away by Sieg Dijkstra. He couldn't hold it. It was well hit. Then into that bottom corner. Corner kick conceded. More defending for Dijkstra to do here. As Van Bronckhorst himself takes the corner kick. Amato won the header. The shove was by Johansson. The free kick given. Big kick out from Dijkstra, all the way through to his opposite number, Stefan Klos. Now Ibrox gets noisy again with Rangers back in possession. Dick Advocaat has been critical that Ibrox was too quiet for last week's win against Motherwell. Now Wallace! The fingertips of Dijkstra with enough to stop that shot ending up in the back of the net. It was a low bouncing effort from Wallace, and the goalkeeper got just enough onto it. In from Alberts and over the top. No, in fact, it skims away off the head of Amato. Back in from Wallace. United under real pressure. Long ball from Vidmar. It breaks for Sergio Parini. Blocked by Duffy. Amato, lovely skill. Good defending as well by Siggy Jonsson, it had to be. Well, we've seen Amato's little party piece before. This one, it set up Giovanni van Bronckhorst's goal against Dundee a few weeks back. Lovely ability. Little skill school from Neil McCann. Gets it back from Van Bronckhorst. Obstructed by Magnus Skoldmark, he'll be booked. Immediately, Martin Clark was reaching into his back pocket for the yellow card as McCann's progress was abruptly halted. A goal in midweek, a booking today. The left foot of George Albert, stretching was Amoruso. Did well to make contact at all. Chased by McCann. Alberts again. On the right foot. Not quite as deadly as the left. And Dundee United won't complain about that. Struck it well wide. Amoruso to Alberts. Wallace linking things together. Now McCann. Did well, and was tugged back by Skoldmark. He's been booked a matter of a couple of minutes ago. The Rangers supporters reckon that's worthy of another yellow card. Martin Clark calls him across. It's a second yellow, and that means red. Dundee United down to 10 men. And Magnus Skoldmark really can't complain. He'd already obstructed Neil McCann and been booked, and when McCann was behind him, he tugged at his shirt. Up the tunnel he goes. And Bronckhorst's free kick knocked back by Amoruso, flicked away by Dodds. 11 against 10 now. Lord Wallace can't get away from Scott McCulloch. And McCulloch will be spoken to now. Dodds has been booked already, he'll have to be careful. Martin Clark desperately trying to calm things down. Temperatures running high. And a show of dissent from McCulloch. Down to a yellow card. Problems now for Paul Stunnock and John Blackley. In comes the free kick from Giovanni van Bronckhorst. Totally wasted. Some reorganisation now for the Dundee United manager to do as he tries to protect a 1-goal-0 lead with only 10 players on the pitch. Charged down by Billy Dodds. Alberts to Wallace. Right across goal. And touched behind by Scott McCulloch. That was inviting from Wallace. It was just asking to be put in the back of the net, but nobody there for Rangers. Three strikers on the pitch, but nobody there. The Van Bronckhorst corner kick, lost by Dijkstra, and scooped onto the roof of the net. Dick Advocat out of the dugout, up to the touchline, impatient for an equaliser. McCann with Alberts alongside him. And all the way across to Kanchelskis. Amato, lovely 1-2. Another chance goes a-begging for Rangers. Back in again. Kanchelskis, Alberts. Anna shuts him down. So too Billy Dodds. Alberts has it back. Strong play. Kanchelskis. Cleared by Hanna. Amaruso. Looked to take a deflection. Kept in by McCulloch. Vidmar, for Neil McCann, out comes Dykstra. Judged it well. Neil McCann wasn't far away. Eustace linking with Olofsson. It's won back by Alberts. Here's Amato. It's a real chance for the equaliser. Stopped by Dykstra. And cleared by McCulloch. Don't know if Steve Dykstra knew too much about this. Amato hesitated, and the shot fell between the legs of Dykstra. Very cool play by Sergio Perini. Alberts rolls it to Neil McCann, heading for the byline. Chipped up for Van Bronckhorst, and Amato, and it's wide. It was an inviting chip, headed on by Jonathan Johansson and headed wide by Gabriel Amato. It's Kanchelskis. Alberts again, trying to get away from Billy Dodds. Tackled by Hanna, that was important. Now Olofsson is onside. Stefan crosses up his line. Here's a real chance to tie it up for United. Olofsson fails to take it. Saved by the right hand of Kloss. It really should have been 2 for United after Alberts lost possession in a key area. Olofsson was inside his own half, had to be onside, and what a chance that was for number 2. Kjell Olofsson looks heavenwards, he knows, and he may well still be the hero if his first half goal is a counter. But if he'd put that one away, the points were surely safe for United. Perini won the header. That was Charlie Miller and Johansson. Amato on towards Wallace. Siggy Jonsson back towards Dykstra. Van Bronckhorst got involved there. Jonathan Johansson, and it's hacked off the line by Neil Duffy. Controversy here with Dykstra out at the edge of the area. Was that handball by Siggy Jonsson? Not spotted by the referee. The header back towards Dykstra, he couldn't clutch it, and there's the hand of Jonsson pushing the ball towards his goalkeeper. Lucky boy, Siggy Jonsson, not spotted. Neil McCann collects it in a deep position. Tackled by Craig Easton. The substitute, Charlie Miller, into the feet of Gabriel Amato. Gets to the byline, Amato. Good tackle by Neil Duffy. Cleared by Dodds. Kanchelskis to Alberts. Still Alberts, now McCann. And Wallace. In behind Darren Patterson. And yet again, flies across goal. And nobody there to apply the finishing touch. This has happened so many times for Rangers. Getting in behind, a dangerous ball across goal. No takers. Dundee United supporters waiting patiently. They need wait no longer. There's an exultant manager, Paul Sturrock. A handshake with the disappointed Dick Advocaat. Steve Dykstra, a first-half hero for Dundee United with a string of fine saves, and these supporters know how significant this result might be in the battle against relegation. Sturrock is happy. The Dundee United players celebrate, but for Rangers it's deep disappointment. It's their first defeat in 15 matches, Rangers, but for Dundee United, An eagerly awaited result, a result in many ways they couldn't have dreamed about. Superb for United, deeply disappointing for Rangers after 9 straight wins. Rangers lose, and the defeat offers up hope to Celtic in the title race. If they can win at Kilmarnock tomorrow, they'll close the gap at the top of the Premier League to 7 points. Rangers 0, Dundee United 1.